In the heated race to 2027, Nigerian politics is turning into a wide game. 2027 is approaching and defections are coming fast and loud. As politicians jump from one party to another, many Nigerians are left asking, is this about the people or just power? The latest political earthquake in Delta State has ignited conversations across the country, especially after the unexpected mass defection of key figures from the People's Democratic Party to the governing All Progressives Congress. Governor Sheriff Oborowori, former Governor Ifeanyi Okonkwo, and all the local government chairmen in Delta State have ditched the PDP, raising eyebrows and concerns. This dramatic move has stirred debate among political commentators and the public alike. Kenneth Okonkwo, a vocal political analyst, is calling for a strong opposition coalition to challenge the status quo and hold the ruling party accountable. But others, like respected intellectual Dr. Amadi, are pushing for a different kind of alliance, not just of political parties, but of individuals genuinely motivated to serve the poor and uplift the country. He termed it a coalition of interests, but he placed paramountcy on the independence and probity of both INEC and the judiciary. On the other hand, Festus Keyamo, a seasoned political actor and staunch member of the ruling All Progressives Congress, stands ready to defend his party against any form of criticism, no matter how well-intentioned or constructive it might be. Today on Beyond the Headlines, we unpack these three emerging dimensions of political coalition building in Nigeria: the scramble for power, the fight for true service, and the resistance to change. Hello viewers, glad to have you on Beyond the Headlines. I am Toj Hurapel. In Nigeria today, political defections have become so common that they now seem like a normal part of the system. It is no longer shocking to see politicians jumping from one party to another, not because of clear ideas or policies, but mostly for power and survival. The latest example is from Delta State, where the entire structure of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, collapsed overnight. Governor Sheriff Oborowori, former Governor Ifeanyi Okonkwo, and all the local government chairmen abandoned the PDP and joined the APC. This mass defection has left many wondering, is this about serving the people or, securing political seats? In Nigeria, it is starting to look like defection is not just a habit. It is treated like a virtue. If you want to stay in the game, you move where the power is. And right now, all signs point to one direction: President Bola Tinubu's 2027 re-election bid. And while defections may help Tinubu tighten his grip on power, some people believe he's playing a dangerous game. Kenneth Okonkwo, a popular political voice, argues that Tinubu's return in 2027 would not be because he is strong or popular, but because the opposition remains weak, divided, and poorly organized. In his view, only a strong, united, and focused coalition can challenge the ruling party. Okonkwo believes Governor Cherry didn't defect because he had fresh plans to improve the lives of the people. No, instead he felt politically trapped. With powerful APC figures like Senator Obia Omoagege and Senator Ned Nwoko, both of whom had openly criticized him, already in the party, the governor knew he had limited control. Worse still, he's understood that the real power to determine his political future lay in the hands of the president. Faced with the risk of losing influence and support, Cherry chose the safer path, join the APC and protect his political career. In Okonkwo's words, it wasn't leadership, it was self-preservation. Okonkwo also wants Nigerians not to fall for the use of 2015 coalition as a blackmail by the APC to discourage them from supporting the present coalition. In 2015, many Nigerians came together to support a new party, the PAPC, hoping it would bring real change. The APC defeated the ruling PDP and people believed better days were ahead. But years later, many feel let down. The government has not delivered good governance, good leadership people were promised. Okonkwo is now warning Nigerians, don't make the same mistakes again. He says the 2015 coalition failed because it was not based on honesty, real plans to help the people. Now, as we approach closer to 2027, he believes things must be done differently. According to Okonkwo, the 2027 coalition must not just be about winning elections. It must be about choosing leaders who truly care about Nigerians. He says, even though the past failed, we should not stop trying. We must keep trying until we get it right. Dr. Amadi takes a slightly different approach. He believes the real solution is not about forming coalitions between political parties, but about building a movement of honest, selfless individuals who truly care about the poor and want to fix the country. Dr. Amadi shares the same view as Kenneth Okonkwo. The governor didn't switch sides because he thought President Tinubu would win Delta in 2027. He switched because he feared Tinubu wouldn't allow him to be re-elected as governor of Delta State. In other words, it wasn't about the people, it was about protecting his own interest, his political future. Dr. Amadi went further to say that for Nigerian democracy to work, strong institutions like the electoral body, INEC, and the judiciary must be independent and fair. If politicians keep jumping parties out of fear and leaders can influence elections and court decisions, then democracy is in the doldrums. His warning is simple. Nigeria cannot grow if power keeps controlling the system. We need leaders who believe in the rule of law, not just in winning elections. Finally, Festus Keyamo, a loyal and outspoken APC leader, is always ready to defend his party. A president brushing at even the most constructive arguments. Okonkwo and Dr. Amadi argue that the PDP of Delta State is immaterial. But for Keyamo, Delta State is the soul of PDP, and now he believes the party has lost its soul. He admits that in Africa, politics, unlike in the West, ideologies don't exist. To him, politics is not first about service, it is about grabbing power. Only after winning power, he argues, can politicians begin to implement their good plans. That's why he sees nothing wrong with the mass defection. In fact, he claims the people support it. When asked about the opposition coalition allegedly being formed by Atiku Abubakar and Nasser El-Rufai, Keyamo was quick to dismiss that. He says coalitions built around individuals, or what he called cult personalities, never succeed. He pointed to historical examples like Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, and then Peter Obi, all popular yet unable to win national elections on their own. Mocking the opposition, Keyamo said the real coalition is already happening inside APC, with top politicians from all over the country defecting to the ruling party. That is sad. But beyond all the political drama, one question remains. How do ordinary Nigerians feel about this? Are they just watching from sidelines as power players move pieces on the chessboard of 2027? Well, you're watching Beyond the Headlines. For more on these, do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, share this video, and then subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stories, for more beautiful stories. I'm Tosh Kuraf. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I'm a member of the coalition, and we are moving in that direction to solidify the unity amongst all the opposition forces to take out this government that, according to Senator Ndume, is a government of kakistocrats and kleptocrats, the government of worst of us, and the government of desperate thieves. According to Aristotle, he said when man is separated from law and justice, he becomes the worst of animals. And Plato may declare that man separated from law is the most savage beast. We have been reintroduced to the state of nature by this government, where life, according to Thomas Hobbes, has become solitary, nasty, brutish, poor, and of course short. When APC came together to form APC, they were the strangest of fellows. People from New PDP, from half portion of APGA, from CPC, from ANPP, and all other ACN. They were the strangest of fellows, but yet they were able to make the commensurate sacrifice. They were able to know that they have a common enemy in the ruling PDP, and they pocketed their individual preferences and went for the common good of them. Remember, the whole idea of setting up a political party is to protect the interest of your members. They were able to harness themselves very well, organized a primary for their presidential candidates, all of them, in a purported free and fair election. And when somebody emerged, they supported the person and they won the incumbent. So the strangest of fellows can always come together when there is a national crisis as we have now, and they will pocket their individual ambitions for the collective good of all. You cannot give up. You can only learn from your experience. Use your experience in your today's experiment to achieve your expectation tomorrow. We cannot give up. We cannot succumb to the blackmail of tyrants. We cannot succumb to the blackmail of the kakistocrats and the kleptocrats, because they will blackmail you that the coalition in the past has not worked. That does not mean you will not try again. Continue to try. If you fail 99% of the time, that 1% that you will succeed, you would have learned 99% of how not to fail.
We have moved from, Kamal says, from first a farce to now a tragedy. It's now a tragedy when highly formidable. Look, the governor of the Delta State, doing averagely well from some reports, is not in real danger of being, if votes count, really, taken out if you focus on serving the people. Not at all. This is a state that P2B won handily against Tinubu and against Atiku. So it's not like, look, this is Tinubu wave is going to sweep that place. That's not true. So two things are at play here. Individual interests, like Kenneth Okonkwo, are very clear. For the government, perhaps fear that with what has happened in 2023, with this election, there's now a certain calculation clear that this INEC under APC, we've not had an INEC like that, and so people are not even thinking about any competitive election. And so the notion here is slam dunk. You just have to be with these guys so they don't openly rig you out. We saw the cases where INEC will declare results far different from the results that were uploaded. They use result sheets that are now verifiably fake, according to the initiative Nigeria that went to South Africa and showed it. This is the point. Personal interest here, one. Two, fatalism about competitive election. So we're going to 2027 with this, shadow hanging over the prospect that, look, everybody's going to say, if you want to be in power, then you have to decamp. Otherwise, INEC would, hurt you badly. You have political parties that are now basically flattened and flattening every day. PDP has been holding sway or held sway for a long time. It's now in some measure a subsidiary of APC. And then you have the Labour Party that's now disorganized. Now other parties, maybe the mutation, dynamics mature of SDP or New Labour or whatever platform. But it speaks to the lack of the organizing principle of Nigerian politics is now very deficient and defective. In the sense that we can't even have organizations to conduct politics, and bureaucracy organization is the heart of development. So the parties are neither organized to aggregate interests put them in other competitions. So what's the part of our party? The party is that there are structured coalition of interests, ideas, values about the public good, competing and contesting. Sometimes they mutate, change direction, but here you have bankruptcy of ideas, bankruptcy of value. The second point really is that you can't talk about electoral democracy, and that's why Nigeria has been classified officially as electoral autocracy after 2023, meaning that you're going to have elections essentially autocracy. So we're going to get back to perhaps Russia style or Mugabe style. The difference here is not what to say against Mugabe about Rwanda, not what to say against the strong man there, the Uganda man. You can see that they have some ideology. It might be bankrupt, some notion of the state and nation building. It might be defective, but here there's no notion. Okay, by the way, when people are falling to PDP, look at that. Look at MDJ, look at Okowa, look at Festus Keyamo. Is there any common idea or set of ideas keeping these people together? So if tomorrow other governors fall in, this is not a one-party state with all its deficiencies, at least that is organized and organic and able to drive some version of development. This is basically banditry writ large. Everybody is in there to extract, to take. I can't win the election, I have to join them. And the last thing, the third point about this is that the notion, what is driving this convergence, is the idea that elections are not free and fair and cannot be. There's a fatalism now. And I talk about INEC all the time. I say, look, those who want to fight for Nigeria shouldn't fight APC or Tinubu or anybody. Fight INEC. You've seen continuing degeneracy in terms of basic administrative work. For example, the law says that if voters' materials are not, the serial numbers are not captured in prescribed forms you prescribe, you should announce the result, you approve a different result, and you are going who about it. And the court says, slam dunk, blah, blah, blah. Maybe the petitioner should have brought computer, should have worked it, the court subpoenas INEC to come, INEC comes and we can't operate our system. The court says, okay, because INEC can't operate it, a PDP, it's your fault. You should have operated it. This convergence of the judicial capitulation, the INEC's is managerial incompetence and corruption, deliberate destruction of their rules and processes, has created an environment where those who have a career in politics, as Max Weber talked about, those who live for politics, are now saying that the only way for us to keep our job and our profession and our economic benefit is to tackle with a ruling party that's going to be very, very unabashed about monopolizing INEC. So far, look at, this is not just theory, look at the appointments made so far to INEC since 2023. Very well established partisans, chief of staff to Senate president, people like that. In the past, it used to be people recruited who seem to be civil society but will corrupt them. Now, we are recruiting people who are partisans. And so, by the time we announce the next INEC chairman, it might be no pretense as to professorial profile. It's going to be slam dunk, maybe a career civil servant, retired, whose profile shows complicity with crime. So
I've been avoiding politics because I've been, concentrating on governance. We are like the reserve army of Mr. President. When politics come, when campaign comes, Mr. President may call all his reserve armies like us. But presidential spokesmen are doing a fantastic job now in promoting the president, all the presidential spokesmen. But like I said, some of us are maybe Dele Alake. We are reserve army. When campaigns come, we will dust our books and come before the cameras. We are facing governance now. There's no tsunami coming. I think it's a storm in a teacup. I respect these people. Let me just put in the context. I respect them so well. But if you look at the political history of Nigeria, those who have not, I have campaigned for 2 presidents now. I hope you know that. So I have fair knowledge of the demography. I was the chief campaign, spokesman for the Buhari and also for Tinubu, back to back. So I understand the political demography. It's impossible for you to do a coalition now to unseat the present president.
Why?
You see, there are 2 different things. Are you talking of a merger or coalition?
Or alliance.
Or alliance. They should be very clear. If it's a merger, forget it, because it is too late to start a merger now. with the process you have to go through to do a merger, get a new identity and all that, and then elections are around the corner next year, end of next year.
APC started in 2013.
The moment, no. The moment the 2011, the talks to even get to that point, the discussions, it's not
they started since last year.
No, the moment
the alliances and coalition talks.
The moment we lost the 2011 election, that moment, that same 2011, President Tinubu flew to Kaduna and met the general Buhari and said, look, we need to start working. So the discussions took a long time. We were part of the whole thing, took a long time. Back and forth. Then you have to call conventions on both sides for the conventions to adopt what we have decided and all of that. It's a long process. So these people are not experienced enough. The president you are seeing now, he has gone through all of this. So he's just smiling and looking at all of them. He understands. Secondly, any party you build around an individual has never won a national election since 1960. Let me take you through them. You know that no matter how popular, no matter how the mass movement, remember Chief Awolowo with all the mass movement and all the talk, MPN, UPN was built around him, even AD before them. That's where they before the Action Group, AG Action Group was around him and all that. Of course, Awolowo was like our hero in Southwest and all that. With all the popularity, he could not win a national election. The same thing with Azikiwe, MPP, could not win a national election. This thing also came recently to Peter Obi. The Labour Party was built about was called followership, the obedient movement, and all that. People should not think that. They say he was rigged.
This is new Nigeria.
Go back
this
to
is different Nigeria.
No, but it's the same complexities. Nobody, if you build anything, Atiku wants to build something around himself, wants to be the court, it's too late in the day.